and welcome back to Vinyl Friday, where I go through my records in alphabetical order like a big nerd and talk about why I love them. Today is the first Friday of the month, so we will be venturing back into the Rumours Mill.
When you're in a band, you don't get with your bandmate's girlfriend. You get a love triangle, you know? Fleetwood Mac situation. Mind you, they did make some of their best music back then.
Rumours?
No, that's all true.
We first covered secondhand news. And then we had to listen to Go Your Own Way. And we'll be going through the album according to a sequencing that I've put together, which I very humbly think is better than the original sequencing. So with this episode, Stevie Nicks is going to be making her first appearance. Today we're going to be listening to Dreams, an almost boring song. Dreams was the second single off Rumours in the United States. The first was Go Your Own Way. To have written the band's lead single was a bit of a win for Lindsay. But on the other hand, Dreams went on to be the band's only #1 single in the United States, which I think is a win for Stevie. The song also went viral in 2020 because this happened on TikTok. On the back of that, the song again went to #1 on the Billboard Rock Digital Sales chart, which was a thing I didn't know existed until today, and it rose to #12 on the Billboard Hot 100 in the year of our Lord 2020. It was their highest placement since 1988 when Everywhere charted. I wanna be with you everywhere. Now, I believe that there's more to say on this matter, so we're going to bring in a new correspondent today. Folks, please welcome the soapbox correspondent. Right, onto my soapbox. Okay, now here's the thing. For the most part, the people in the comment section here at Vinyl Friday are lovely, wonderful people. We adore you. We love your stories. We love the contributions that you make to the conversation. But occasionally, we have people who will come into the comment section and tell us that we can't possibly be real fans of this music because we didn't grow up when it was released. And frankly, I think that this is a crock of horse. As we can see with Dreams making it back into the charts, it clearly doesn't matter if you were alive at the time of the song's original release for it to be meaningful to you as a person. To the very few of you who say we can't be real fans because we weren't actually alive at the time, I'd just like to say that music doesn't expire. This song is a perfect illustration of all of that. Young people can love Fleetwood Mac. It can mean something really personal to them. It can be the soundtrack to a significant period in their lives. And far be it for us to gatekeep the music of our youths because somebody else is trying to claim it as the music of their youth. Right, I'm getting off my soapbox now. Today we're going to look at why I think that this song could have been extremely tedious, why this song is not extremely tedious, and then we're going to continue in our journalistically rigorous investigation into Who Won the Breakup? First though, some background. Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham were together for about 8 years. By the time the band began writing Rumours, everyone's relationships were disintegrating, just imploding from the inside out. Huge mess. So much baggage. And that included Lindsay and Stevie, which means that they were having to go through the devastation of a breakup while maintaining a certain level of professionalism so that they could actually write and finish this album. And to complicate matters further, they were sustaining themselves on mountains of cocaine and little else. One day they're in the studio, that's the record plant in Sausalito, California, and Stevie's not needed. So she plods off down the hall to Sly Stone's studio.
When I had nothing to do, I could take all my stuff down there, and so I would take a electric piano with me, my crocheting and my journals and my books and my art, and I'd just kind of stay there, you know, until they needed me.
It was called the Pit because there was a recessed floor inside and apparently a waterbed, and you had to enter through a set of bright red lips to get into the room. And I wish so badly that I could find a photo of this place, but as far as I can surmise, it doesn't exist. So here's my best rendering. She sat down at the keys, she wrote the song in about 10 minutes.
And I knew when I wrote it that it was really special. And I was really not self-conscious or insecure about showing it to the rest of the band. I knew they were going to really like it.
They were thoroughly unimpressed, or in her own words, they weren't nuts about it, but I said, please record this song, at least try it. This is going to become a theme. Stevie really had to advocate for herself in the making of this album. But if you ever find yourself beginning to feel sorry for Stevie, just remember that she ended up writing the band's only #1 single in the US. So I think that's gotta count for something. The reason that I've chosen this song as number 3 in our sort of revised album sequencing is that we've had 2 very high energy songs. We've had a lot of Lindsay. As listeners, we need a bit of a breather, and that's what Stevie's gonna give us. So is the band right to be unimpressed by this song? Is it secretly a very boring song? I think it could have been, and here's why. The song has, for the most part, 2 chords that just loop. And if you remove everything else in the song, that is extremely tedious. If you don't believe me, we're gonna go now to the piano correspondent who is going to give us an active demonstration. Aren't you, piano correspondent? Yes, I am. We're gonna go from the top of the verse through to the beginning of the bridge. Here we go. Follow along. McVie had thoughts to the same effect. She said, the song was just 3 chords and 1 note in the left hand. It was boring. The bass part is also incredibly repetitive. It essentially plays the same thing throughout the song on a continuous loop, with a few exceptions. And this is what that sounds like. And the drums literally are on an 8-bar loop. The engineer literally created a loop of 8 bars of Mick Fleetwood playing drums, and that sounded like this. It's incredibly simple, especially when you compare it against the drum part for the last song, Go Your Own Way, which is pretty iconic. Listen to how much it changes the feel of the song when you swap in that drum part.
Now there you go again, you say you want your freedom.
Do these things mean that the song is ultimately boring? No, they do not! This song is fantastic. Here's why this song is not boring. First off, even though the drum is looping, even though the bass is doing the same thing throughout the entire song, it creates this perfect groove.
There you go, signature John McVie, Mick Fleetwood bass drum line.
And Stevie said that she sort of wrote the song around a groove. She started with a drum part, I think on a cassette tape, and then wrote the song over the top of that. She called it a dance groove, which is hilarious to my ears because I don't think the song is a dance song in the slightest, but whatever. It's her song. The drum and the bass just slot in really nicely together. It's what makes the song sound so smooth. I like that. The melody that Stevie has written for this song is strong and it's dynamic. I think it's great melody writing. And I think a good measure of that is if he lifted the vocals out and sang them a cappella or just played them isolated, it would still sound like a really good song.
It's only right that you should play the way you feel it.
Still sounds beautiful, right? Yes, it does, is the correct answer. Then she's got that distinctive purring vocal. It's velvety. Like this shirt. And yeah, as I said, it's a purr. It has this purring quality to it. Very pleasing. She was very, very closely mic'd for this track. She was about this close to the microphone. And the engineer said that it was so that they could pick up some of the sort of lower, throatier frequencies in her voice. In the last Rumours Mill episode, I talked about how Rolling Stone said some not very nice things about Stevie's voice in reviewing the album that came out before this. And there's no sense in repeating myself, so here's what I said last time. They said my singing was callow, and that really hurt my feelings. Time after time I would read the raucous voice of Stevie Nicks and the golden-throated voice of Christine McVie, who's the only saving grace of the band. Are you kidding me? Now, taste is subjective, but to me this song is ample evidence that whoever wrote that Rolling Stone piece is frankly underqualified to comment. Because how could you listen to this? How could you listen to this lovely purring vocal and deem it to be inferior to Christine McVie's? I'm still upset about this, evidently. I just love her vocal delivery on this. It's perfect. The solo. tempo is great in this song.
Lindsay had an amazing way of taking my songs and making them wonderful. When he was happy with me.
It breaks up the first half and the second half, changes the chords around a little bit, changes the rhythm around a little bit. Let's look closer. That is achieved by Lindsey Buckingham through the use of a volume pedal, which is, I was going to say something you step on, but that's evident, it's in the name. It is a device that allows you to control the volume of your guitar with your foot, which means that instead of a note having immediate attack, it sort of gently eases into the sound. George Harrison of the Beatles used the same thing on Yes It Is and I Need You. Will it, Beatles? Say it with me, kids. Yes, it will! To me, that volume pedal gives the guitar a pining, wistful quality. There's a bird that's native to New Zealand called a kōkako, and this bird has a call that's often described as mournful. And there's some quality to this solo, to that volume pedal sound, that reminds me of that. We've got our trademark harmonies at the chorus. That vocal blend is so perfect.
It was even more amazing for me because they oftentimes had to sing on one microphone or on three microphones in a small room, looking at each other, and you can imagine the turmoil they were going through, and through all the turmoil they'd come out with vocals that sound like this.
Oh, thunder only happens when it's raining.
And then we can't go past the lyrics. These are probably some of my favorite Stevie Nicks lyrics. They're written in a very skilled way that make it feel almost like an incantation or a spell, especially in the line that features the title of the song here.
It's all a dream, I want to wrap around your dreams and when the dreams you love yourself.
Oh, and the way she sings Sell, so beautifully done. Intoxicating. She sounds almost like a siren, you know? Just drawing you in. Irresistible. Ah, I love that. Yeah, that gives it a fantastical, mystical quality. But you can also hear it in this line here. It's like it casts her as a sorceress. There are many sort of poetic turns of phrase in these lyrics as well. Here are some of my favorites. Isn't that poetic? When the rain washes you clean, you'll know. Great line. Stevie's a good poet. Good job, Stevie. So for me, it is these combined qualities that mean that the fact that the song only has two chords, essentially, is not really that significant. Those two chords aren't really the primary feature of the song. They just serve as a vessel to contain all of the rest of the stunning elements of the song. The groove, the melody, the vocal delivery, the blend of the harmonies, the solo, and these very evocative lyrics. Now, I know you've all been waiting this whole time for Who Won the Breakup. But there is one more thing that I'd like to do before we get to that point, and that is like a quick fire round of all of these other minute details that I love about the song. Here we go. The whispering, furtive backing vocals in the bridge part leading into the chorus, I think they really lend themselves to the feeling that this song is a kind of enchantment. But when she says listen carefully to the sound, you have to listen carefully to be able to hear that. She's sort of word painting a little bit there. And those backing vocals sound like the sound of loneliness. The rhythmic break in the last verse. That all happens in the bass. The drum is still going on its little loop, but the ba, 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 ba catches the syncopation of the vocals in that section. Wrap around your dreams. It sort of jolts you out of the hypnotic effect that the song has on you as a listener. The last set of backing vocals leading up to the chorus, her oohs are very slightly flat. You can hear it here.
what you love, what you have, what you love.
It sounds like she's casting a spell. I don't know how many other ways to say it. It sounds like a spell. It sounds magical. But yeah, she's slightly flat on that ooh. But I find that kind of charming. As I mentioned briefly in the previous episode, it's that unrefined charm that you don't get so much in modern popular music because we have the technological opportunity to manufacture perfection. A lot of people in the industry do take that option, which means that we don't truly know what a lot of modern pop musicians' voices actually sound like when they're not being corrected. I was talking to someone about this the other day. Bear with me. If you listen to Mbop by Hanson, the pitching is perfect. And I won't go on for too long about Hanson, but if you listen to this harmony here, top part is being sung by an 11-year-old boy. Like, a lot of 11-year-olds don't have that kind of control over their vocals, let alone the accuracy. Their harmony works because the three of them are organically singing in tune. And we know that to be true because the technology to alter the pitch of their voices did not at that point exist. So with this song, when Stevie is ever so slightly flat on the oohs, it might be something that they would correct nowadays, but they couldn't then, and as a listener, it's not like it jumps out, it's not like it decreases the quality of the song, it just makes it sound human. I really should have called in the soapbox correspondent for this. There's a cool drum fill at 3 minutes and 13 seconds. Yes! There's vibraphone at the bridge part leading into the chorus. Did you know? Because I did not. It sounds like this. Okay, now we're up to the part we've all been waiting for. Who won the breakup? So as explained last time, I'm separating the judging into 3 different categories. Personal growth, that is to say, is the song really petulant or is it quite mature in its approach to the breakup? Songwriting, fairly obvious, how good is the song? 3, passion, how much emotion is going into the delivery of the song? So, for personal growth, I'm going to give this song an 8. Because of lines like, you know, and then there's the whole bit about, but you're going to be super lonely and don't you forget it, pal. But leading up to that, I think it's very mature, certainly by comparison against some of the lines that we had in Secondhand News and Go Your Own Way. So that's an 8. Songwriting, I'm going to give this song a 7.5. I am deducting some points for the uninspiring chord progression, but you can't discount the strength of the melody and the lyrics in this song, so 7.5. Passion, I'm going to give this a 6. It's not flat, but when you compare it against Go Your Own Way, for instance,
you could call it another lonely day.
It's pretty sedate. 6. So let's go now to our leaderboard. How does that add up? That takes us to a score of 7.2 out of 10, which for those of you playing at home is ever so slightly higher than Go Your Own Way. You'll have to tune in next first Friday of the month as we continue to work out who won this breakup. That's it for me. If you enjoyed this episode or you would like to support any of the weird things that I do, I will leave a link in the description for my Buy Me a Coffee page where you are welcome to make a donation, but no pressure. Thank you so much to everybody who has made a donation or signed up to be a member. I appreciate you so very much. Thank you. Thanks for hanging out with me. I'll see you here next week. Have a great weekend! Right, onto my soapbox. Right, onto my soapbox. Right, onto my soapbox. I'm not very good at this. Right, I'm gonna get off my soapbox now. Right, I'm getting off my soapbox now. I think that worked. There's a bird that is native to New Zealand called a kōkako. I can't say it now. Kōkako. How many times have I said this word and it's fine? And now it's not fine. Kōkako. This is not going well. Kōkako. What the hell? It's called a kōkako. Jesus Christ.